Olivia Thompson was a woman who had mastered the art of transformation, not just in her life, but in her career. At 34, she had become a renowned real estate investor, known for turning dilapidated properties into luxury landmarks. Her journey from a modest childhood in New York's working-class neighborhoods to the heights of financial success was nothing short of remarkable. The daughter of Italian immigrants, Olivia knew the value of hard work from a young age. Her parents had instilled in her the belief that with determination and a clear vision, anything was possible. Olivia's early years were marked by the challenges of growing up in a cramped apartment where every dollar counted. But she was driven by an insatiable desire to create a better life, not just for herself, but for others as well. After earning a degree in finance, she quickly made a name for herself in the competitive world of New York real estate. Her ability to see potential where others saw ruin set her apart. Olivia wasn't just buying buildings. She was buying into the future of communities, revitalizing neighborhoods and giving them new life. On a crisp autumn day, Olivia found herself on a guided tour through the very neighborhood where she had grown up. It had been years since she had last visited, and the area had changed dramatically. The old grocery store where her mother used to shop was now a trendy cafe, and the once rundown park where she used to play was now a vibrant community space. The transformation filled her with a mix of nostalgia and pride. This was the type of change she had devoted her career to creating. As the tour group moved along, Olivia's mind wandered back to her childhood memories. She recalled the bustling streets, the sounds of children playing, and the sense of community that, despite everything, had always been strong. But there were also memories of struggle, of nights when her parents worried about making ends meet. Those memories fueled her drive to succeed, to ensure she never had to live that way again. Lost in thought, Olivia almost didn't notice when the tour guide stopped in front of a beautifully restored brownstone. And this, the guide said, is one of the most significant restorations in the neighborhood. As Olivia looked up at the building, she couldn't help but feel a surge of familiarity. It was then that she noticed two figures standing just behind the tour group, seemingly as captivated by the sight as she was. A young boy, no older than 9, was holding the hand of a woman who appeared to be in her late 20s. The woman had a warm, yet tired smile, and the boy's wide eyes sparkled with curiosity. Olivia's heart skipped a beat. There was something about the woman's face that seemed eerily familiar, though she couldn't quite place it. Intrigued, Olivia lingered near the entrance of the brownstone as the group moved on, her gaze fixed on the pair. It wasn't until the woman caught Olivia's eye and smiled that it all came rushing back. Sophia Moretti. The memories hit Olivia like a wave. Sophia had been her childhood friend, the girl from the apartment down the hall who had shared her love for adventure and dreams of a better life. They had lost touch after high school, when life had taken them in different directions, but Olivia had never forgotten her. Olivia's mind raced as she approached Sophia, unsure of what to say after so many years. But before she could speak, Sophia's eyes lit up in recognition. "Olivia? Olivia Thompson?" she asked, her voice a mix of disbelief and joy. Olivia nodded, unable to suppress a smile. "Sophia, it's been so long. I can't believe it's you." The boy looked up at his mother, then at Olivia, his curiosity evident. "Mom, who is she?" he asked, tugging gently at Sophia's hand. Sophia looked down at her son and then back at Olivia, her smile widening. "Joey, this is Olivia. She's an old friend from a long time ago." The three of them stood there for a moment, suspended in the unexpectedness of their reunion. There was so much to say, so many questions and stories that had been left untold over the years. But for now, there was only the joy of seeing each other again, and the quiet understanding that, somehow, their lives were about to become intertwined once more. Olivia's heart was still racing from the unexpected reunion with Sophia and her son, Joey. After exchanging a few warm words, they agreed to catch up later, and Olivia continued her walk through the neighborhood. As she strolled down the familiar streets, memories of her childhood began to flood back. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the brownstones and tree-lined avenues. Olivia took her time, letting the nostalgia wash over her. Every corner, every building held a story, a piece of her past that she hadn't revisited in years. The once cracked sidewalks where she used to ride her bike had been replaced with smooth, modern pavements. The local deli, where she and her friends used to buy candy, was now a chic boutique selling handmade goods. The transformation of the neighborhood was undeniable, but to Olivia, it was still the same place where she had grown up. She found herself standing in front of her old apartment building, a modest brick structure that had seen better days. Despite the wear and tear, it looked much the same as it did when she was a child. Olivia smiled as she remembered the countless times she and Sophia would sit on the front steps, talking about their dreams and plans for the future. Those steps had been their launchpad, the place where they imagined lives far beyond the constraints of their upbringing. As she stood there, a voice broke through her reverie. "Olivia, is that really you?" Olivia turned to see an elderly woman walking toward her, a look of astonished recognition on her face. It took Olivia a moment to place her, but then it clicked. Mrs. Martinez, her old neighbor from the third floor. "Mrs. Martinez, I can't believe you're still here," Olivia exclaimed, stepping forward to embrace the woman. Mrs. Martinez had always been a fixture in the building, watching over the children with a mix of sternness and affection. "I've been here all my life," Mrs. Martinez replied with a chuckle. "And look at you. I heard about your success, but I never imagined I'd see you back here." Olivia smiled warmly. "I'm just visiting. It's amazing to see how much has changed." Mrs. Martinez nodded, her expression turning thoughtful. "Yes, a lot has changed, but some things stay the same. The people here, the sense of community, it's still strong, even after all these years." They chatted for a while, reminiscing about the old days. Mrs. Martinez shared updates on some of the other neighbors, who had moved away, who had passed on, and who had stayed. Olivia listened, feeling a mix of sadness and gratitude for the memories they shared. As they talked, the conversation inevitably turned to Sophia. "I saw Sophia and her son today," Olivia mentioned, her voice tinged with curiosity. "She looked well, but I had no idea she was still in the neighborhood." Mrs. Martinez sighed, a hint of sorrow in her eyes. "Sophia's had a tough time. She's doing her best for that boy, but life hasn't been easy for her." Olivia felt a pang of concern. "What happened?" Mrs. Martinez shook her head gently. "It's a long story, one that I'm sure Sophia will share with you in her own time. But she's strong, just like you. She's made a life for herself and Joey here, even if it's not the life she dreamed of." The conversation left Olivia with a lot to think about. After saying her goodbyes to Mrs. Martinez, she continued her walk, reflecting on what she had learned. The neighborhood, though transformed on the surface, still held the essence of the community that had shaped her. The people, their stories, and their struggles were woven into the fabric of the place, just as they were woven into Olivia's own history. As she rounded the corner, she spotted Sophia again, this time outside a small grocery store, talking to an older woman who was pushing a cart of groceries. Joey was at her side, looking up at the buildings with the wide-eyed curiosity of a child seeing the world through new eyes. Without hesitation, Olivia crossed the street and approached them. "Sophia," she called out, a smile spreading across her face as Sophia turned to see her. "Olivia," Sophia responded, surprised but pleased. "I was just about to head home. Would you like to join us?" Olivia nodded, grateful for the chance to spend more time with her old friend. As they walked together through the neighborhood, they began to share their stories, each memory bringing them closer, just as it had years ago when they were young girls with big dreams on those front steps. As Olivia walked alongside Sophia and Joey, she felt a warmth that she hadn't experienced in a long time. The years had distanced them, but the ease of their conversation brought back the comfort of their childhood friendship. Joey, sensing the connection between his mother and Olivia, occasionally chimed in with his own observations about the neighborhood, his curiosity and innocence reminding Olivia of how she used to see the world. They reached the edge of the park where Olivia and Sophia used to play as children. Now, it was a vibrant space, filled with laughter and activity. Joey's eyes lit up as he spotted a group of kids playing soccer nearby. "Mom, can I go play?" he asked, his excitement barely contained. Sophia smiled and nodded. "Of course, sweetheart. Just stay where I can see you." As Joey ran off to join the other children, Olivia and Sophia found a bench under a large oak tree and sat down. For a moment, they watched Joey from a distance, the easy silence between them filled with memories of their own childhood adventures. "You've done a great job raising him, Sophia," Olivia said after a while, her voice sincere. "He's a wonderful kid." Sophia's smile was touched with a hint of sadness. "Thanks, Olivia. It hasn't been easy, but he's my whole world. I just want to give him the best life I can." Olivia heard the weight behind Sophia's words and felt an urge to do something, to help in some way. She knew that Sophia had been through tough times, but there was more to the story, something that Sophia hadn't yet shared. The thought of her old friend struggling alone tugged at Olivia's heart. On impulse, she turned to Sophia. "You know, I have an idea," she began, her tone thoughtful. "How about you and Joey come over for dinner tonight? My place isn't far, and I'd love to catch up more. Plus, it would be great to have some company." Sophia looked surprised. "Olivia, that's really kind of you, but I wouldn't want to impose." "Nonsense," Olivia interrupted, shaking her head. "It's no imposition at all. I insist. Besides, it'll be nice to spend some time together, like old times. And Joey will have plenty of space to run around." Sophia hesitated, glancing toward Joey, who was laughing and playing with the other kids. "Are you sure? I mean, we don't have much to offer in return." Olivia reached out and gently placed a hand on Sophia's arm. "Sophia, you don't owe me anything. I just want to do this. Consider it a chance for us to reconnect, and maybe for Joey to see something different." Sophia finally relented, her expression softening. "All right, Olivia. We'll come. Thank you." Olivia smiled, relieved and excited at the same time. "Great. Let's say around 7? I'll send a car to pick you up." Sophia nodded, and as they sat back on the bench, Olivia felt a sense of satisfaction. It wasn't just about the dinner. It was about extending a hand to someone who had once meant so much to her. She couldn't shake the feeling that this evening would be important, not just for them, but for what lay ahead. As the afternoon drew to a close, Olivia walked Sophia and Joey back to their apartment. The building was old, its exterior showing signs of wear, but it was clear that Sophia had made it a home. Joey waved goodbye with a big smile, excited about the upcoming dinner, while Sophia gave Olivia a grateful hug before they parted ways. As Olivia headed back to her own place, her mind was already racing with ideas for the evening. She wanted everything to be perfect, not in a grand or ostentatious way, but in a way that would make Sophia and Joey feel welcomed and at ease. This dinner was more than just a meal. It was a chance to rekindle a friendship, to offer support, and perhaps to uncover the truths that had been buried by time and circumstance. As Olivia arrived back at her penthouse, she immediately shifted into host mode, her mind buzzing with details. The spacious apartment, with its floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, was a far cry from the modest neighborhood she had just visited. It was modern and luxurious, yet tonight she wanted it to feel warm and inviting, like a true home. She walked into the kitchen, where her staff had already started preparations for the evening. Olivia had called ahead, instructing them to prepare a simple but elegant meal. She knew that Sophia wouldn't be comfortable with anything too extravagant, so she chose a menu that was both comforting and familiar. "Let's keep it cozy tonight," Olivia said to her chef, Marcus, a man who had worked with her for years and knew her tastes well. "Something hearty, maybe an Italian theme? Pasta, a good salad, some fresh bread, and of course, a great dessert. Nothing too fancy, but everything should be perfect." Marcus nodded, already mentally assembling the ingredients. "I've got just the thing in mind, Olivia. How about a homemade lasagna with a side of roasted vegetables? And for dessert, I was thinking a classic tiramisu." Olivia smiled, pleased with the suggestion. "That sounds perfect, Marcus. And let's make sure there's something special for Joey too. Maybe a pizza he can help make?" Marcus grinned. "I'll have the dough ready for him. Kids love making their own pizza." Satisfied that the menu was in good hands, Olivia turned her attention to the dining area. She wanted the setting to be welcoming, so she instructed the staff to set the table with care, but without the usual formality. She chose a simple tablecloth, soft lighting, and fresh flowers. Nothing too extravagant, just enough to create a warm, intimate atmosphere. As the preparations continued, Olivia found herself growing more excited and a little anxious. It had been years since she'd had Sophia in her life, and she wanted everything to go smoothly. This dinner felt like an opportunity to rebuild a bridge that had long been neglected, and Olivia was determined to make it count. By the time the clock struck 6, the apartment was ready. The smell of lasagna wafted through the air, mingling with the scent of fresh bread and the delicate aroma of flowers. The lighting was soft, casting a warm glow over the room, and everything was set. Olivia took a moment to breathe, reminding herself that tonight was about more than just catching up. It was about showing Sophia that she wasn't alone, that despite the years and the distance, they were still connected. Just before 7, Olivia's driver arrived at Sophia's building. Sophia and Joey stepped out, dressed simply but neatly, and the driver opened the door for them with a courteous smile. Joey, holding his mother's hand, looked around with wide eyes, excited but nervous about what the evening might bring. When they arrived at Olivia's building, Joey's jaw dropped as they stepped into the sleek, modern lobby. The elevator ride to the penthouse was swift, and as the doors opened, Olivia was there to greet them, her smile warm and genuine. "Sophia, Joey, I'm so glad you could make it," Olivia said, embracing Sophia and then bending down to greet Joey at his level. "I hope you're ready to help me out in the kitchen tonight, Joey. We've got a special pizza waiting for you to make." Joey's face lit up, his nerves easing. "Really? I get to make pizza?" "Absolutely," Olivia replied, leading them inside. "Come on, let me show you around." As they toured the apartment, Sophia couldn't help but feel a mix of awe and admiration. The penthouse was stunning, but it was Olivia's warmth and down-to-earth attitude that stood out the most. Despite all her success, Olivia was still the same person at heart, kind, generous, and thoughtful. They settled into the living room, where Olivia offered them drinks, sparkling water for Joey and a glass of wine for Sophia. The conversation flowed easily, with Olivia asking about Sophia's life and how she had been managing. Sophia shared a bit about her work and how she was doing her best to provide for Joey, though Olivia could sense that there was more beneath the surface, more that Sophia wasn't yet ready to reveal. Dinner was served shortly after, and it was a resounding success. The lasagna was rich and flavorful, the roasted vegetables were perfectly seasoned, and the fresh bread was warm and comforting. Joey's pizza was a hit. He beamed with pride as he took his first bite, and Olivia couldn't help but smile at his excitement. As the evening progressed, the atmosphere grew even more relaxed. The tension that had initially filled the air dissipated, replaced by the easy camaraderie that Olivia and Sophia had once shared. The conversation was light, punctuated by laughter and memories, and for a while, it felt like they were back on those old steps in their childhood neighborhood, dreaming of the future. But as the dessert plates were cleared and the night began to wind down, Olivia could sense that the time was nearing to address the deeper topics, the questions that had been lingering all evening. She could see the flicker of emotions in Sophia's eyes, the hesitation, the sadness, and the quiet strength that had always defined her. Before she could say anything, Sophia spoke, her voice soft but steady. "Olivia, there's something I've been meaning to tell you. Something about my past, about Joey's father, and about how things ended up the way they did." Olivia nodded, leaning in slightly, her attention fully on her friend. "Sophia, whatever it is, I'm here to listen. You don't have to go through this alone." Sophia took a deep breath, the weight of her words hanging in the air. And so, the stage was set for the revelations that would soon come, the secrets that had been buried for too long, and the truth that would change everything. The room was quiet except for the soft clinking of dishes being cleared away by the staff. Olivia sat across from Sophia at the now empty dining table, the weight of Sophia's words hanging between them. Joey, tired from the excitement of the evening, had been taken to a guest room to rest, leaving the two women alone. Sophia hesitated, her fingers tracing the edge of her wine glass as she gathered her thoughts. Olivia could see the conflict in her eyes, the struggle between wanting to share and fearing the vulnerability that would come with it. She reached across the table, gently placing her hand over Sophia's. "You can tell me anything, Sophia. I'm here for you." Sophia nodded, taking a deep breath before she began. "It's been a long time since I've talked about this, Olivia. I guess I haven't had anyone to talk to, really. It's been Joey and me against the world for so long. Olivia squeezed her hand reassuringly. I understand. Take your time. Sophia looked up, her eyes filled with a mix of pain and resolve. You remember how we used to dream about leaving the neighborhood, making something of ourselves? I always admired you for actually doing it, for getting out and making a name for yourself. But for me, things didn't go as planned. She paused, her voice thick with emotion. After high school, I got involved with someone. His name was Eric. At first, he was charming, exciting, everything I thought I wanted. But as time went on, I started to see a different side of him. He was controlling, manipulative, and eventually abusive. By the time I realized how bad things were, I was already trapped. Olivia listened intently, her heart aching for her friend. She hadn't known any of this, hadn't realized how far apart their lives had drifted. Sophia, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Sophia shook her head, a sad smile playing on her lips. I didn't want anyone to know. I was embarrassed, ashamed that I'd let myself get into that situation. But then I found out I was pregnant with Joey, and everything changed. I knew I had to leave Eric, for Joey's sake if not for mine. Her voice trembled slightly as she continued. It wasn't easy. Eric didn't want to let us go, and I didn't have the resources or the support to just walk away. But I was determined. I scraped together what little money I had, found a tiny apartment, and left while he was out one day. I took Joey, who was just a baby, and never looked back. Olivia could hardly believe what she was hearing. She had always seen Sophia as strong, but this was a level of courage she hadn't imagined. You did the right thing, Sophia. You saved yourself and Joey. That takes incredible strength. Sophia nodded, though her eyes were distant, lost in the memories. It wasn't the end of our troubles, though. Eric didn't let go easily. He tried to find us, threatened us. I had to change jobs, move apartments more than once to keep us safe. It was a constant struggle, always looking over my shoulder, never knowing when he might show up. She paused, taking a moment to steady herself. Eventually, I heard that Eric had been arrested for something unrelated and was sent to prison. That gave me some peace, knowing he was out of the picture, at least for a while. But by then, I had built a life for Joey and me. It wasn't much, but it was ours. I've spent the last few years trying to make ends meet, keeping Joey safe, and giving him as much of a normal life as possible. Olivia's heart broke for Sophia, but she also felt a deep admiration for the resilience that had carried her through such a difficult journey. Sophia, I wish I had known. I wish I could have been there for you. Sophia smiled, though it was tinged with sadness. I didn't want to burden anyone. Besides, you were out there living the life we always dreamed of. I didn't want to drag you back into my mess. Olivia shook her head firmly. You're not a burden, Sophia. You never were. And I'm here now. Whatever you need, you have me. We can figure things out together. Sophia's eyes filled with tears, and for the first time that evening, she allowed herself to let go of the weight she had been carrying. Thank you, Olivia. I can't tell you what that means to me. They sat in silence for a moment, the bond between them rekindled and stronger than ever. The years of distance and silence melted away, leaving only the connection they had always shared. Finally, Olivia spoke, her voice gentle but firm. Sophia, you don't have to do this alone anymore. I have the means to help you, and I want to. Let me help you get back on your feet. Give Joey the life he deserves. You've done so much on your own, but you don't have to keep fighting this battle by yourself. Sophia looked at Olivia, gratitude and hope shining in her eyes. I don't know what to say, except thank you. Thank you for being here, for caring. Olivia smiled, squeezing her friend's hand once more. You've always been like a sister to me, Sophia, and family sticks together. The weight of the past was still there, but now it was shared, no longer something Sophia had to bear alone. As they sat together, talking quietly about the future, Olivia knew that this dinner had been the beginning of something new, a chance to heal, to rebuild, and to face whatever came next together. The warmth of the evening lingered as Olivia and Sophia moved to the living room, settling into the plush sofas with their wine glasses. The city skyline sparkled beyond the large windows, but Olivia's focus was entirely on her friend. The revelations from dinner still hung in the air, and Olivia could sense there was more that Sophia hadn't yet shared. As they sat down, Sophia glanced toward the hallway where Joey was sleeping, ensuring he was out of earshot before turning back to Olivia. There was a hesitance in her eyes, a sign that what she was about to say carried even more weight than what she had already revealed. "There's something else you should know, Olivia," Sophia began, her voice softer now, tinged with a vulnerability that made Olivia's heart tighten. "It's about your family, about your mother." Olivia's brow furrowed in confusion. "My mother? What do you mean?" Sophia took a deep breath, as if steeling herself for what was to come. "Your mother and I were close, closer than you knew. She helped me during some of the darkest times of my life. But there were things she never told you, things she kept hidden to protect you." Olivia's pulse quickened. Her mother had always been a reserved woman, loving but distant in many ways. She had passed away years ago, leaving Olivia with more questions than answers about her life. "What are you saying, Sophia? What did my mother keep from me?" Sophia looked down at her hands, her fingers nervously twisting the hem of her shirt. "When I was trying to get away from Eric, I had nowhere to go, no one to turn to. But your mother found out about my situation, and she stepped in to help me. She gave me money, helped me find a safe place to stay. She was like a guardian angel during that time." Olivia felt a mix of surprise and pride swell within her. She had always known her mother was a kind woman, but she had never imagined the extent of her generosity. "I had no idea she did that. Why didn't she tell me?" Sophia's eyes glistened with unshed tears as she continued. "She didn't want to worry you. But there's more, Olivia. When I was at my lowest, your mother confided in me, shared things about her own past that she had kept hidden even from you. She had secrets too." Olivia leaned in, her heart pounding in her chest. "What kind of secrets?" Sophia hesitated, then spoke slowly, choosing her words carefully. "She told me about a man she loved before she met your father, a man she never forgot. She said he was the love of her life, but circumstances kept them apart. She didn't marry him. She chose your father instead because it was the safe choice, the right choice for her future." Olivia's mind reeled. Her mother had never mentioned anyone before her father, had never hinted at a past love that could have changed the course of her life. Why didn't she tell me this? Why keep it a secret? Sophia's gaze softened with understanding. "I think she was afraid of what it would mean for you, for your perception of her. She loved you so much, Olivia, and she wanted to give you a stable, happy life. But there was a part of her that always longed for what could have been." Olivia struggled to process this new information. Her mother had always been a pillar of strength in her life, but now she was realizing that there had been a depth to her that Olivia had never truly understood. Did she ever regret her choice? Olivia asked quietly. Sophia shook her head. "She didn't regret having you or building a life with your father, but she did carry the weight of that lost love with her. She told me that in another life, maybe things would have been different. But in this life, she chose what she believed was best for you." Tears welled up in Olivia's eyes as she absorbed the truth about her mother's hidden past. "I wish she had told me. I wish I could have understood her better." Sophia reached out, placing a comforting hand on Olivia's knee. "She did what she thought was right, and in the end, she loved you more than anything. She wanted to protect you, even from her own pain." For a moment, they sat in silence, the enormity of the revelations settling between them. Olivia felt a profound sense of loss, not just for her mother, but for the pieces of her mother's life that had remained hidden until now. Yet, there was also a sense of clarity, a deeper understanding of the woman who had raised her. "Sophia, thank you for telling me," Olivia finally said, her voice thick with emotion. "I know it couldn't have been easy to keep that secret all these years." Sophia nodded, her own tears now slipping down her cheeks. "I didn't want to keep it from you, but I felt it wasn't my place to say anything. But now that she's gone, I think you deserve to know the whole truth." Olivia wiped her eyes, feeling a strange mixture of sorrow and relief. "I'm glad you told me. It changes how I see her, but in a good way. She was even stronger than I realized." They sat together, the silence between them now filled with mutual understanding and a shared sense of loss. The night had brought them closer than they had been in years, united not just by their past friendship, but by the secrets they had uncovered together. As the city lights twinkled outside, Olivia felt a resolve growing within her. She knew that these revelations were just the beginning, that there was still more to uncover about her mother, about Sophia's struggles, and about her own life. And she was ready to face whatever came next, knowing she wasn't alone. The next morning, Olivia woke early, her mind still reeling from the revelations of the night before. She had barely slept, her thoughts consumed by what Sophia had shared about her mother. As she sat in the quiet of her kitchen, a cup of coffee in hand, Olivia knew she couldn't let these secrets fester. She needed to confront them head-on. Sophia and Joey were still asleep in the guest room, and Olivia decided to let them rest. She needed time to think, to gather her thoughts before discussing everything with Sophia again. But the weight of the truth bore down on her heavily. Her mother's hidden past, the love she had kept secret, and the choices she made out of duty and fear. It all made Olivia question everything she thought she knew about her family and her own life. By mid-morning, Sophia emerged from the guest room, looking a bit more rested but still carrying the burden of last night's conversation. Joey followed her, rubbing his eyes and immediately heading for the kitchen where Marcus had prepared breakfast. Olivia greeted them both warmly, masking the turmoil she felt inside. "Good morning," Olivia said with a smile, handing Sophia a cup of coffee. "How did you sleep?" "Better than I have in a while," Sophia admitted, though her eyes revealed she was still troubled. "Thank you again for everything, Olivia. It means more than you know." Joey, now more awake, was happily munching on pancakes, oblivious to the undercurrents between the two women. Olivia glanced at him, her heart swelling with affection. She knew that whatever came next, she had to tread carefully for Joey's sake. After breakfast, while Joey played in the living room, Olivia and Sophia retreated to the balcony, where the city stretched out before them in all its bustling glory. Olivia leaned against the railing, the cool morning air doing little to calm her racing thoughts. "Sophia," Olivia began, her voice steady but laced with emotion, "I've been thinking a lot about what you told me last night. About my mother, about everything." Sophia nodded, looking down at her hands. "I'm sorry, Olivia. I didn't mean to stir up so much. I just felt like you needed to know." "I'm glad you told me," Olivia said quickly, "but it's made me realize there's so much I never understood about her. I need to know more, about her past, about this man she loved, and about why she kept it all hidden from me." Sophia looked up, meeting Olivia's gaze. "I can tell you what I know, but it might not be everything. Your mother was a private person, even with me. She only shared what she felt necessary." Olivia nodded, understanding the limitations of what Sophia could offer. "I get that, but I need to confront this. I need to know who she really was and why she made the choices she did." Sophia hesitated, then spoke carefully. "Your mother was a complex woman, Olivia. She loved you deeply, but she was also afraid. Afraid that if you knew the truth, it would change how you saw her, or that it might lead you down a path she didn't want for you." Olivia's heart ached at the thought. She didn't trust me enough to share that part of her life. "It wasn't about trust," Sophia said gently. "It was about protection. She wanted to shield you from her regrets, from the pain of knowing that she had to choose between love and security. She wanted you to have the best life possible, without the burden of her past." Olivia looked out over the city, the weight of her mother's choices pressing down on her. "But now I feel like I didn't really know her at all. She was this incredible woman, and I only saw a part of who she was." Sophia stepped closer, her voice soft but firm. "You knew her, Olivia. You knew the woman she chose to be for you. But yes, there were parts of her that she kept hidden. That doesn't mean she loved you any less. It means she loved you enough to sacrifice her own happiness for yours." Olivia swallowed the lump in her throat, the realization sinking in. Her mother's life had been shaped by difficult choices, sacrifices made out of love and fear. But now, knowing this, Olivia felt an overwhelming need to honor her mother's memory by understanding her fully, even the parts she had kept hidden. "I need to find out more," Olivia said, determination hardening in her voice. "I need to know who this man was, what happened between them, and why she felt she couldn't tell me. I can't just leave it like this." Sophia nodded, a look of understanding in her eyes. "I wish I could give you all the answers, but I can help you find them. I know she kept some letters and photos, things she didn't want you to see while she was alive. Maybe that's a place to start." Olivia's eyes widened. "Letters? Photos? Where are they?" "I don't know for sure," Sophia admitted, "but she mentioned once that she kept them in a safe place, somewhere she thought you wouldn't look. Maybe in the house, or at the bank. It's something you'd have to search for." The idea of uncovering these hidden pieces of her mother's life filled Olivia with both excitement and dread. She knew that whatever she found could change the way she saw her mother forever, but she also knew she had to do it. "I'll start looking," Olivia said, her voice resolute. "Thank you, Sophia, for telling me, for being here with me." Sophia smiled, though it was tinged with sadness. "You're not alone in this, Olivia. I'm here, whatever you need." They stood together on the balcony, the city alive around them. Yet it felt like they were the only two people in the world. The truth was out now, and there was no going back. Olivia knew that the path ahead would be challenging, filled with more questions than answers. But she also knew that she wasn't facing it alone. As the morning stretched into afternoon, Olivia began to plan her next steps. The journey to uncover her mother's past would be long and painful, but it was a journey she was ready to take. And with Sophia by her side, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. It was time to confront the ghosts of the past and discover the truth that had been hidden for so long. That evening, after a day spent processing the revelations and searching for clues about her mother's past, Olivia felt a restless energy building inside her. The weight of the secrets she had uncovered pressed down on her, and she knew she needed a moment of clarity. She needed to talk to Sophia to make sense of what came next. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the city's lights flickered on, Olivia stepped out onto the garden terrace, finding Sophia already there, lost in thought. The garden was peaceful, a sanctuary amidst the bustling city below. The moonlight bathed the space in a soft, silvery glow, casting long shadows across the neatly trimmed hedges and vibrant flowers. Olivia walked quietly over to Sophia, who was sitting on a bench, her face illuminated by the gentle light. "Sophia," Olivia began, her voice cutting through the stillness, "I've been thinking about everything we talked about my mother, about the decisions she made, and what I need to do now." Sophia looked up, her expression calm but filled with understanding. "I figured you would be. It's a lot to take in, and I'm sure you're feeling overwhelmed." Olivia nodded, sitting down beside her. The cool night air felt refreshing against her skin, but it did little to ease the turmoil inside her. "I am. But more than that, I feel like I'm at a crossroads. My mother lived her life with so many secrets, made decisions that I never understood until now. And it's made me realize that I need to make some decisions of my own." Sophia turned to face Olivia fully, sensing the seriousness of the conversation. "What kind of decisions?" Olivia took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. "First, I want to find those letters and photos. I need to see them, to understand her better, and maybe find out more about this man she loved. But beyond that, I've been thinking about my life, about how much I've focused on my career, on building something successful, and how much I've neglected the personal side of things." Sophia listened quietly, her presence steady and reassuring. "Olivia, you've accomplished so much, but it's okay to want more, to want something different now." "That's just it," Olivia continued, her voice tinged with a mix of frustration and realization. "I've spent so much time building this life, but I've never really stopped to ask myself if it's the life I truly want. My mother made choices out of fear, out of a sense of duty, and I think I've been doing the same, in a way. I've been so focused on success that I've lost sight of what really matters." Sophia's eyes softened with empathy. "It's easy to get caught up in what we think we're supposed to do, what we think will make us happy. But if you're realizing now that you want something different, it's not too late to change." Olivia looked up at the sky, the stars twinkling above them, and felt a sense of peace settle over her. "I want to be there for Joey and for you. I want to help you both have a better life, not just because I can, but because I want to. I've been given so much, and I think it's time I start giving back in a more meaningful way." Sophia's eyes welled with tears, but she smiled, moved by Olivia's sincerity. You've already done so much, Olivia, but I think you're right. It's not just about what you can give, it's about finding what fulfills you too. Olivia nodded, feeling the truth of Sophia's words resonate within her. I've been thinking about the renovation project in the old neighborhood. I've always approached it as a business opportunity, a way to invest and make a profit. But now, I want it to be more than that. I want it to be a way to give back to the community, to create something that really makes a difference for the people who live there. Sophia smiled, her heart swelling with pride for her friend. That sounds like exactly what your mother would have wanted, Olivia. She cared about people, about making their lives better. Maybe this is your way of continuing her legacy. Olivia felt a surge of determination. I think you're right. I want to honor her memory, not just by uncovering her past, but by living the kind of life she would have been proud of, one that's about more than just success, but about love, compassion, and making a real difference. They sat in silence for a moment, the gravity of Olivia's decisions settling between them. The garden, bathed in moonlight, felt like a sacred space where new beginnings were being forged. What about you, Sophia? Olivia asked gently, turning the conversation back to her friend. What do you want? What can I do to help you and Joey? Sophia looked down, her expression thoughtful. I've spent so long just trying to survive, to keep Joey safe and give him what he needs. But maybe it's time I think about what I want too. I want a stable home for Joey, a place where he can grow up without fear. And for myself, I want to feel like I'm building something for our future, something that's more than just getting by. Olivia reached out, taking Sophia's hand in hers. You deserve that, Sophia. You've sacrificed so much, but it's time for you to have the life you've always dreamed of. I'll help you in any way I can, whether it's finding a new home, starting a business, or just being there for you as a friend. Sophia's eyes filled with gratitude, and she squeezed Olivia's hand. Thank you, Olivia. I don't know what I would have done without you. You're not alone anymore, Olivia said softly, her voice filled with conviction. We're in this together, and we'll figure it out. As they sat there, the night air cool around them, both women felt a sense of resolution. The path ahead wouldn't be easy. There were still secrets to uncover, decisions to make, and challenges to face. But they knew they had each other, and that gave them the strength to move forward. The moon shone brightly overhead, a silent witness to the promises made beneath its light. And as Olivia and Sophia stood up to go back inside, they both felt a renewed sense of hope for the future, one that they would face together, hand in hand. The days following their conversation under the moonlight were filled with a renewed sense of purpose for Olivia. She threw herself into the search for her mother's letters and photos, driven by a need to understand the woman she had loved so deeply, yet realized she had only partially known. The clues Sophia had given her led Olivia to her mother's old safety deposit box at the bank, a place she hadn't visited in years. The box contained exactly what she had hoped for: a bundle of letters tied with a faded ribbon and a small stack of photographs. Olivia sat in the quiet privacy of the bank's viewing room, her hands trembling slightly as she untied the ribbon and unfolded the first letter. The handwriting was unmistakably her mother's, elegant, precise, and full of emotion. The letters painted a picture of a young woman deeply in love with a man named Daniel, someone Olivia had never heard of before. Her mother's words spoke of a passion and connection that Olivia had never imagined. Daniel was her mother's first love, the man she had considered her soulmate, but circumstances had kept them apart. As Olivia read through the letters, she began to see the life her mother had chosen to leave behind in favor of the safe, stable life she had built with Olivia's father. Tears blurred Olivia's vision as she realized the depth of her mother's sacrifice. The love her mother had felt for Daniel was palpable in every word, yet she had given it up for a different kind of love, the love for her future, for her child, and for the life she believed would offer the most security. Olivia's heart ached as she understood how much her mother had endured in silence, how she had carried this secret with her for so long. The photographs were equally revealing. There were pictures of her mother and Daniel together, young and full of life, their smiles radiating a happiness that Olivia had rarely seen in her mother's later years. There were also photos of her mother alone, after she had parted ways with Daniel, her expression more guarded, as if she had already begun to build the walls around her heart that Olivia knew so well. When Olivia finally finished going through the letters and photos, she sat back in the chair, her emotions a tangled mix of sorrow, admiration, and a deeper understanding of her mother's choices. It was clear now that her mother had lived a life of quiet resilience, always putting Olivia and her family first, even at the cost of her own happiness. Leaving the bank, Olivia felt a profound sense of closure, but also a determination to honor her mother's memory by living her own life with greater authenticity. She knew that her mother's story had shaped her in ways she was only beginning to understand, and she was determined to make choices that reflected the lessons she had learned. Returning to her apartment, Olivia found Sophia waiting for her. She shared the contents of the letters and photos with her, the two of them sitting together in the living room, surrounded by the echoes of the past. Sophia listened quietly, her eyes reflecting the weight of what Olivia had uncovered. "That must have been hard to read," Sophia said gently, once Olivia had finished. "It was," Olivia admitted, her voice thick with emotion, "but it was also enlightening. I understand her so much better now, why she made the choices she did, and how much she loved us. It wasn't just about me or my father. It was about living with integrity, even when it meant giving up something she wanted more than anything." Sophia reached out, placing a comforting hand on Olivia's arm. "Your mother was an incredible woman, and so are you, Olivia. You've taken all of this and turned it into something meaningful, something that will guide you forward." Olivia nodded, feeling a surge of gratitude for her friend. "I know now that I need to live my life in a way that honors her sacrifice. I've spent so much time chasing success, but I want to shift my focus. I want to build something that matters, something that makes a real difference, starting with the renovation project in our old neighborhood." Sophia smiled, pride shining in her eyes. "That sounds like exactly what your mother would have wanted. She always cared about people, about making their lives better. You're continuing her legacy in the best way possible." Olivia felt a deep sense of resolve. "I'm going to approach the renovation differently. It's not just about making a profit anymore. I want to create a space that brings the community together, that offers opportunities for people like you and Joey, and for families who are struggling like we did." Sophia's smile widened, her heart full of admiration for her friend. "That's an incredible goal, Olivia, and I know you can do it." Over the next few days, Olivia immersed herself in the project, meeting with architects, city planners, and community leaders. She made it clear that her vision had changed. This was no longer just a business venture, but a mission to create something meaningful. She wanted the renovated buildings to include affordable housing, community centers, and spaces for local businesses to thrive. The more she worked on the project, the more Olivia felt the weight of her mother's legacy guiding her. Every decision she made was infused with a sense of purpose, a desire to honor the woman who had sacrificed so much to give her the life she had. And as she worked, she began to feel a sense of fulfillment that she had never experienced before. One that came not from personal success, but from knowing that she was making a positive impact on the lives of others. Meanwhile, Sophia and Joey began to settle into a new rhythm as well. With Olivia's support, Sophia started exploring new opportunities, considering the possibility of returning to school or starting her own business. Joey, for his part, was thriving in his new environment, his days filled with the kind of stability and happiness that Sophia had always dreamed of providing for him. One evening, as they sat together on Olivia's terrace, looking out over the city that had once seemed so daunting, Sophia turned to Olivia, her eyes reflecting the peace she had finally found. "Olivia," she said softly, "I've been thinking about what you said, about making decisions that honor your mother's legacy. I think it's time I start making decisions that honor my own." Olivia looked at her, a smile spreading across her face. "What do you mean?" "I've always been so focused on surviving, on doing what I needed to do to get by," Sophia explained. "But now, with your help, I feel like I can start thinking about what I want, about building something for the future. I want to go back to school, to get a degree and build a career that I'm passionate about. And I want Joey to see that it's never too late to chase your dreams." Olivia's smile widened, her heart swelling with pride. "That's exactly what you should do, Sophia. You deserve to pursue your dreams, just like anyone else." Sophia nodded, her resolve strengthening. And I want to be part of what you're building here, too. The renovation project, the community. You've given me so much, and I want to give back. Olivia reached over, taking Sophia's hand in hers. We'll do it together, Sophia. We'll build something that matters, something that will make a difference for everyone. And we'll do it in a way that honors both of our pasts and the future we want to create. As they sat there, the city lights twinkling around them, Olivia felt a profound sense of contentment. The path she had chosen wasn't the one she had originally envisioned, but it was one that felt right, one that resonated with the values her mother had instilled in her. And with Sophia by her side, Olivia knew that they were both on the brink of something new and extraordinary, a future filled with hope, purpose, and the fulfillment of long-held dreams. Weeks passed, and the renovation project in Olivia's old neighborhood began to take shape. The once neglected buildings were now being transformed into vibrant spaces, filled with the energy and potential of a community on the rise. For Olivia, this project had become more than just a business venture. It was a tribute to her mother's legacy, a way to give back to the community that had shaped her. As the project progressed, Olivia's days were filled with meetings, planning sessions, and site visits. But unlike before, when her work had been driven by the pursuit of success and profit, she now felt a deep sense of purpose. Every decision she made was guided by her commitment to creating something meaningful, something that would benefit the people who lived there. One crisp morning, as the sun rose over the city, Olivia stood at the edge of the construction site, watching as workers laid the foundation for a new community center. The center would provide a safe space for children to play, for families to gather, and for local businesses to thrive. It was exactly the kind of place her mother would have wanted, a place where people could come together and support one another. As Olivia surveyed the progress, she felt a presence beside her and turned to see Sophia approaching, Joey skipping along at her side. Sophia's face was alight with excitement, her eyes reflecting the same sense of hope and renewal that Olivia felt. "It's really happening," Sophia said, her voice filled with awe as she took in the sight of the construction. "You're doing it, Olivia. You're making a real difference." Olivia smiled, her heart swelling with pride and gratitude. "We're doing it, Sophia. This project wouldn't be the same without you." Sophia looked around, her gaze lingering on the growing structure that would soon become the heart of the community. "I've been thinking a lot about what this place will mean for people, for families like mine. It's more than just buildings and businesses. It's a chance for people to start over, to build a life they're proud of." Joey, full of youthful energy, tugged on Sophia's hand. "Mom, can we go see where the playground will be?" Sophia laughed, her heart warmed by her son's enthusiasm. "Of course, sweetie. Let's go take a look." As they walked toward the section of the site designated for the playground, Olivia watched them with a sense of fulfillment she had never known before. This was what her mother had wanted for her, a life that wasn't just about success, but about love, community, and making a difference in the lives of others. Later that day, as the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm golden light over the neighborhood, Olivia gathered with the project team for a small ceremony to mark the laying of the community center's cornerstone. Local residents, many of whom had lived in the neighborhood for decades, joined them, eager to witness the transformation of their home. Olivia stood before the crowd, her heart pounding with emotion as she prepared to speak. She glanced at Sophia, who stood nearby, a reassuring smile on her face, and then at Joey, who was watching with wide-eyed curiosity. Taking a deep breath, Olivia began. "Thank you all for being here today," she said, her voice steady but filled with feeling. "This project is about more than just revitalizing a neighborhood. It's about honoring the past, our shared history, and the people who have shaped us. It's about creating a future where everyone has the opportunity to thrive, to build a life they're proud of." She paused, looking out at the faces in the crowd, many of whom she recognized from her own childhood. "I grew up here, just like many of you. I know what it's like to dream of something better, to work hard for a future that feels out of reach. But I also know that it's possible to make those dreams a reality with the right support and the right opportunities. That's what this project is about, giving back to the community that gave me so much and helping to build a future that we can all be proud of." As she finished, the crowd erupted in applause, their cheers echoing through the streets that had once been her playground. Olivia stepped back, feeling a sense of peace and accomplishment wash over her. This was the culmination of everything she had worked for. Not just the success, but the chance to make a real, lasting impact on the lives of others. After the ceremony, as the crowd began to disperse, Olivia found herself standing alone by the cornerstone, reflecting on everything that had brought her to this moment. The letters, the photos, her mother's hidden past. It all seemed to come full circle now, woven into the fabric of her own journey. Sophia approached, Joey at her side, and placed a hand on Olivia's shoulder. "Your mother would be so proud of you, Olivia. You've done something truly amazing here." Olivia smiled, her eyes misting with tears. "I hope so. I feel like I'm finally living in a way that honors her, that honors the sacrifices she made." Sophia nodded, her voice filled with warmth. "You are. And you've inspired me to do the same. I'm going back to school, like we talked about. I'm going to build something for Joey and me, something that makes us both proud." Olivia's smile widened, her heart brimming with happiness for her friend. "That's wonderful, Sophia. I'm so proud of you." As the sun set behind them, casting long shadows across the site, Olivia felt a sense of closure and new beginnings all at once. She had uncovered the secrets of her past, confronted the truths that had shaped her, and found a new path forward, one that was guided by love, purpose, and a commitment to making a difference. Walking back to the car with Sophia and Joey, Olivia felt lighter than she had in years. The future stretched out before her, filled with possibilities she had never imagined. And as she looked at Sophia and Joey, she knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, stronger and more connected than ever before. In that moment, Olivia understood that the journey wasn't just about uncovering the past. It was about embracing the future, about building a life that was rich with meaning, love, and connection. And she was ready, more than ever, to take that journey hand in hand with those she loved. As they drove away from the site, leaving behind the echo of the day's events, Olivia felt a deep sense of contentment. This was a new beginning, not just for her, but for everyone involved. And she knew, with unwavering certainty, that her mother's spirit was with her, guiding her every step of the way. If you enjoyed this heartwarming story about overcoming challenges and family love, don't forget to like the video, comment on what touched you the most, and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for our next exciting story.